I am Monsignor Gerald Lewis. I'm the pastor at St. Paul Church here in Newbern, and I am been a Roman Catholic priest for 51 years. Like I helped do a history of Wake County from the Catholic perspective, and since we do live in the state, but no, basically it's church history and church records.
Mhm.
An early North Carolina church, if you go back to we were really not organized as a church until 1868. When Bishop Gibbons came in 1868, he found probably 700 Catholics across the state, one other priest in the state. So it was rather primitive. The Mass was offered by itinerant priests who would travel around. Prior to that, uh, congregations began to be formed back in 1821, like St. Paul. And again, we didn't have priests stationed here till the 1840s, and even then it was sporadic. And our priests were mostly itinerant. They would travel. Yes, back in the 60s and early 70s, we were very much involved in the interracial movement on an ecumenical basis. Bishop Waters worked with other church leaders in working toward racial harmony in our state. And then Bishop Gosman was very active in the Lutheran Catholic dialogue, and he and the Bishop of Charlotte and the Lutheran Bishop of North Carolina formed a covenant back in the 1980s. So I mean, there has been big work, but nothing, nothing you can really publicize. I mean, that was good, but it wasn't gigantic. So used to saying we're the oldest extant Catholic church in the state that I've never asked about Newman. But Christ Church certainly existed before St. Paul, but when that church was built, I don't know. But I think the present Presbyterian Church, First Presbyterian, I think that's older than St. Paul. Well, we are one of the larger parishes in the diocese, and the diocese really depends on St. Paul as a steady, strong force here in eastern North Carolina. We are part of every major action of the diocese. Uh, it in the deanery, of course, we're the largest parish, and most of our deanery meetings are held here. So I would say that St. Paul, in the very beginning, St. Paul was one of the most important parishes in the state, and it's never really lost that impact. Well, the two biggest figures are William Gaston from Newbern. See, Gaston in 1821, Gaston, in correspondence with Bishop England, who was Bishop of Charleston, but included North Carolina. So the bishop came here in 1821 and stayed with William Gaston and offered Mass in William Gaston's house, and actually established a community here in 1821. And it was Gaston who was the leader of that community, and he was in close communication, well, as close as you could be in 1821, with Bishop England for the rest of his life, and he was very instrumental in the building of St. Paul Church. Uh, the other great figure was Father Thomas Frederick Price. He was the first native North Carolinian ordained to the Catholic priesthood. He was ordained in 1886. In 1887, he became pastor of Newbern, and that's what the previous question. Newbern was actually the center of missionary work for all of northeastern North Carolina. So Father Price would travel as far as Halifax and to Goldsboro and places like that. Uh, those are the two main figures. Our third bishop, when we became a diocese in 1924, our third bishop, Bishop Waters, 1945, he was a great missionary bishop, and he had the whole state, and he was constantly over the state, and he had a really profound influence in establishing the church throughout the state. I love Newbern. I am on the Tryon Palace Commission, and I've enjoyed that for many years. I'm now a member emeritus, but that's all right. But actually, I was on the William Gaston House Restoration Association. Bishop Waters bought the home of William Gaston, and we worked 25 years to restore it, which we did, to furnish it, which we did, and then we gave it to the state, and actually to the Friends of Tryon Palace. And Gaston House needs work now, but they're doing their best to preserve it, and I hope the day will come when that will be a major attraction here in Newbern. So I love St. Paul Parish. I love the old church. I love Gaston House, and I love Tryon Palace. Oh, that's a hard one. I've been a part of so many things. Uh, as pastor of St. Raphael, I was very much a part of building the church there, which at that time was the largest church in the state, and that was a big thing. Uh, I have, as Vicar General of the Diocese, been involved in so many projects around the state. Uh, Most of them are not large. Most of them are, smaller projects for individual things. I've worked in Raleigh with the Catholic Parish Outreach, which is one of the biggest charitable organizations in the state. It helps, I think, over 50,000 people a year. Um, I don't know. I try to get involved in anything that I can get my hands into, and I enjoy it. And I'm a big promoter of the North Carolina Symphony, and I've been a supporter of them for 40 years, 50 years maybe. Um, it, I think just being assistant to Bishop Gosman was probably the biggest thing I did, and working with him for his whole time as our bishop for 31 years. So I don't have any great monuments or anything like that. That's not important. But I have been active in most of the work of the church, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm grateful for it.